Alrighty, everybody. Welcome in to Gnosis Timed in Maine. I'm Gnosis Timed. Today we'll read 5, 6, 7, and 8 today. Um, so, yeah, I don't really have much to talk about. I just needed a little bit of sleep. That's why I woke up. That's why, like, on my days off, I probably end up doing this a little bit later. Because my work days, I like to wake up a little bit earlier to do this and get stuff done. Um, and on my days off, I like starting this a little bit later because I have time to sleep in and all that. So, but let's read chapter 5. The Ark in Ashdod and Ekron. Chapter 5. After the Philistines had captured the Ark of God, they took it to Ebenezer, to Ashdod. They took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod, sorry. Then they carried the Ark into Dragon's temple and set it beside the Dagon. When the when the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. They took Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning, when they rose, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the Lord, before the ark of the Lord. His head and hands had been broken off, and they were lying on the threshold. Only his body remained. That is why, to this day, neither the priest of Dagon nor any other who enter the temple, Dagon's temple at Ashdod, step on the threshold. So as you can see there, when he took the ark of the Lord into this place, he kept there's a statue that kept falling down, which the reason that statue kept falling down is because that's a paganism belief. So because the Lord's ark was in there, he just kept knocking down the statue because of the paganism belief. They were probably bowing down to that statue, and that's why the Lord broke that statue the way he did. The Lord's hand was heavy on the people of Ashdod and its vicinity. He brought devastation on them and afflicted them with uh, tumors. When people of Ashdod saw what was happening, they said, "The ark of God of Israel must not stay here with us, because his hand is heavy on us and on Dagon, our God." So there's the answer. He kept doing it because it was a different God, and that's why he broke the statue. So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and asked them, "What shall we do with the ark of God of Israel?" They answered, "Have the ark of God of Israel moved to Gath." So they moved the ark of the God of Israel. But after they had moved it, the Lord's hand was against the city, throwing it into a great panic. He afflicted the people of the city, both young and old, with outbreak of tumors. So they sent the ark of God of Ekron. As the ark of God was in Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out. They have brought the ark of God of Israel around us to kill us and our people. So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, "Send the ark of God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place, or it will kill us and our people. For death had filled the city with panic." God's hand was very heavy on it. Those who did not die were afflicted with tumors, and the outcry of the city went up to heaven. Wow. You see how powerful that thing is? That's crazy. So basically, they brought this ark into the city, and the whole city's just like, we don't want that here because the bad stuff is gonna happen to us. It just goes to show you that people weren't believing anything. So just imagine if this thing existed today, what would happen? You know, like that's the crazy question. It's like if this thing, if well, it does exist, but it's like what would happen if this happened today? Like how? Like it's just crazy. That's why I say, man, don't mess around. Don't don't curse God. Don't insult God. You know, there's a reason. There's a reason for all that, and people still to this day do that. I saw a YouTuber the other day who said something he mocked God, and I'm waiting for the outcome to see God him do something to him because he clearly deserves it after insulting God. But um, yeah, that's crazy. Like, if that were to happen today, I think a lot of people would be frightened. The ark returned to Israel, chapter 6. When the ark of the Lord had been in Philistine territory 7 months, the Philistines called for the priests and diviners and said, "What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us how we should send it back to its place." They answered, "If you return the ark of the God of Israel, do not send it back to him without a gift. By all means, send a guilt offering to him. Then you will be healed, and you will know why his hand has not been lifted from you." The Philistine asked, "What guilt offering should we send to him?" They replied, 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats, according to the number of the Philistines' rulers, because the same plague had struck both you and your ruler. Make models of tumors and rats that are destroying the country, and give glory to Israel. Give glory to Israel's God. Perhaps he will lift his hand from you and your gods and your hand and your land. Why do you harden your heart as Egyptians and Pharaoh did, when Israel's God dealt it harshly with them? Did they not send the Israelites out so they could go their way? Now then, get a new cart ready with 2 cows that have calved, calved and have never been yoked. Hitch the cows to the cart, but take their calves away and pen them up. Take the ark of the Lord and put it on the cart, and in the chest beside it put the gold objects you are sending back as a guilt offering. Send it on its way, but keep watching. If it goes up to its own territory toward Beth Shemesh, then the Lord has brought the great disaster on us. But if it does not, then we will know that it was not his hand that struck us, but that it happened to us by chance. So they did. They took 2 such cows and hitched them to the cart and penned up their calves. They placed the ark of the Lord on the cart, and along with its chest containing the gold rat and the models of tumors. That's weird. The tumors part is weird because like, how do you even make that? Like, isn't a tumor like a tumor is something people get? So how do you build a gold tumor unless it's like just a round ball, which that would make sense. But the rats also like, are they coating rats in gold and just killing rats? Like that's confusing. Or are they just forming rats out of gold? Then the cows went straight up towards Beth Shemesh, keeping on the road, and lowing all the way. They did not turn to the right or to the left. The ruler of the Philistine followed them as far as the border of Beth Shemesh. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were harvesting their wheat in the valley, and they looked up and saw the ark. They rejoiced at the sight. The cart came to the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh, and there it stopped beside a large rock. And the people chopped up wooden wood of the cart and sacrificed the cows as a burnt offering of the Lord. The Levites took down the ark of the Lord together with the chest containing the gold objects and placed them on their large rock. On that day, the people of Beth Shemesh offered burnt offering and sacrifice to the Lord. The 5 rulers of the Philistines saw all this, and they returned that day to Ekron. That same day to Ekron. These are the gold tumors of Philistines. These are the gold tumors Philistines sent as a guilt offering to the Lord. Each one of Ashdod, Gaza, Eshkelon, Gath, and Ekron, and a number of gold rats was according to the number of the Philistines' towns belonging to the 5 rulers. The fortified towns with their country villages, the large rock on the Levites, set the ark of the Lord, is witness to this day. In the field of Joshua Beth Shemesh, but God struck down some of the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, putting 70 of them to death because they looked into the ark of the Lord. The people mourned because of the heavy blow the Lord had dealt to them, and the people of Beth Shemesh asked, Who can stand in the presence of the Lord, this holy God? To whom will the ark go up from there? They sent messengers to the people of Kirath Jearim, saying, The Philistines have returned to the ark of the Lord. Come down. So we're on chapter 7 now. All right. Yeah, we're going pretty fast through this actually. Yeah, because once I'm on the next page, we're technically on to the we're a little bit in, and we're on to the next chapter. It seems like I might be doing another chapter today, depending on how fast this goes. I kind of want to look these things up afterwards, to the gold tumor and the gold rats, to see how they look. To see, I want to find out if they're like coded, or if they're like real, and see if anybody has them in history. Like, there's got, the cool thing is there. I really wish there was a museum with this stuff in, because it'd be incredible to see all the stuff found from the Bible, like a biblical museum of the ancient history or something like that. Just biblical stuff. Even paintings related to like Bible, just a whole museum based on the Bible, a whole museum based on like biblical artwork and stuff like that. It'd be incredible to see, but I don't know if we'd ever get anything like that. That's something that'd be really awesome to see. Like, and then have a church next to it or something. It'd just be really, really cool to see. But that's what I think they should do. All right. 7. Take it up to your own town. So the men of Kirath Jearim came and took up the ark of the Lord. They brought to Abimelech's house of the hill on the consecrated Eleazar, his son, to guard the ark of the Lord. The ark remained at Kirath Jearim a long time, 20 years in all. So we're on the next section. So, all right. Samuel subdued the Philistines at Mizpah. Then the people of Israel turned back to the Lord. So Samuel said to all the Israelites, "If you are returning to the Lord with all your hearts, then rid yourselves of foreign gods and the Asheroths, and commit yourselves to the Lord and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hands of the Philistines." So the Israelites put away their Baals and Asheroths and served the only Lord. So I wonder if Baal is a reference to not just a false god, but any other false god. I wonder if that was what Baal references, because I've noticed that Baal gets referenced in the form of one single false god. Okay, but here, the way this is said, it's multiple. Okay, so are Baals, are they other gods that are under God that are fake? That's what I like. The way it's described is Baal is at the beginning is said as one god outside underneath a god. But what if what if he's talking about multiple versions of them? Because that's the way it seems here. Put away their so the Israelites put away their Baals. All right. Samuel said, "Assemble all Israel at Mizpah, and it will intercede with the Lord for you." When they assembled at Mizpah, they drew water and poured it out before the Lord. On that day they fastened and they confessed. They fastened there and confessed, "We have sinned against the Lord." Now Samuel was serving as the leader of Israel at Mizpah. The Philistines heard that Israel had assembled at Mizpah. The rulers of the Philistines came up to attack them. When the Israelites heard it, they were afraid because of the Philistines. They said to Samuel, "Do not stop crying out loud to our Lord, God for us, that he may rescue us from the hand of the Philistines." Then Samuel took a suckling lamb and sacrificed it at the burnt offering to the Lord. He cried out to the Lord on behalf of Israel. The Lord answered him. While Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to engage Israel in battle, but that day the Lord thundered with loud thunder against the Philistines and threw them into such a panic that they were routed before the Israelites. The men of Israel rushed out of Mizpah and persuaded the Philistines, slaughtering them along the way to point out below Beth-kar. Then Samuel took the stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shen. He named it Ebenezer, saying, "Thus far the Lord helped us." So the Philistines were subdued, and they stopped invading Israel territory throughout Samuel's lifetime. The hand of the Lord was against the Philistines. The towns of the towns from Ekron to Gath that the Philistines had captured from Israel, were restored to Israel. And Israel delivered the neighboring territory from the hand of the Philistines, and there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. Samuel continued as Israel's leader all the days of his life. From year to year, he went on a circuit from Bethel to Gilead to Mizpah, judging Israel in all of those places. But he always went back to Ramah, where his home was, and there he also held court, excuse me, for Israel, and built an altar there to the Lord. I'm having coffee, and it's like every time I drink coffee, I get hiccups, I get burps, so I apologize. I don't mean to do all that into the microphone, but I accidentally did this time, so. Yeah, it's weird because like as I'm listening to this, Samuel doesn't Samuel doesn't come up as much as he should in this story, but it's still based around him. And what we're seeing right now is like a lot of stuff going on. So his name comes up here. So we're gonna go back to him very soon. But like it's just weird because like you barely hear his name come up within this book so far. Like this book's more like, it's a book, it's based around Samuel, but it's like he's not in it as much as like he should be. Because I totally forgot that the book is about Samuel. Like we're talking about the Ark of the Covenant and how it went to different cities and all that, and just interesting. All right, so now we're on chapter 8. Israel asks for a king. So, and we're getting up to a part right here where, you know, there's a character named Saul. Very, very important character. Something tragic happens to him later on, which you gotta wait. You gotta wait later on. But yeah, his ending's rough. All right, so Israel asked for a king. Chapter 8. When Samuel grew old, he appointed his son as Israel's leader. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second was Abji. And all right, and they served at Sheba, but his sons did not follow his ways. They turned aside from after dishonor, gain and accepted the bribes and perverted justice. So all the elders of the all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah. They said to him, "Are you are old, and your sons do not follow your ways. Now appoint a king to lead us, such as all the other nations have." But when they said, "Give us a king to lead us," this displeased Samuel. So he prayed to the Lord, and the Lord told him, "Listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king, as they have done from the day I brought them up out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods. So they are doing to you now. Listen to them, but warn them solemnly that warn them solemnly and let them know what the king who will reign over them will claim as his rights. Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking him for a king. He said, "This is what the king who will reign over you will claim as his rights. He will take your sons and make them serve with his chariots and horses, and they will run in front of his chariots. Some he will assign to be commanders of the thousands and commanders of the 50s, and others to plow his ground, and reap his harvest, and still others to make weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. He will take your daughters and be prepared. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your field and vineyards and olive oil groves, and give them to his attendees. He will take the tenth of grain and of your vineyard. He will take the tenth of grain and of your vintage and give it to the officials and attendants. Your male and female servants and best of your cattle and donkey he will take for his own. He will take a tenth of your flocks, and yourself will become his slaves. When the day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen. But the Lord will not answer you in that day. But the people refused to listen to Samuel. No, they said, we want a king over us. Then we will be like all the other nations, with a king to lead us and go out before us and fight our battle. When Samuel heard all that the people said, he repeated it before the Lord. The Lord answered, listen to them and give them a king. Then Samuel said to the Israelites, everyone go back to your own town. So Samuel's just like, I had it with you people. Go back to your own town because you're not listening to the Lord. All right. So I like this. I like this whole section right here. Let me see what time it is first. I still can read one more section. Yeah, I can read chapter 9 to you guys. So, yeah, let me update this. I want to talk about some of the stuff we've seen so far, or heard so far. So what I find interesting about this whole thing going on is that these people are literally begging for a king, okay? Now, I find that strange because in today's world, I'm not begging for a king. I find it weird how, like, in our whole history, that we've begged for leaders, okay? We begged for leaders, but then we turn around and not bother to listen to the leaders because we're being rebellious. But yet these people here in the Bible, they're sitting there asking for a leader. I wouldn't be asking for a leader. I'd be fine following what God wants and living under God. You know, that's the point of it. And that's why when you look at this, okay, you look at today's world, we like politics way too much. And so it distracts us from believing in God. And that's why, you know, when it comes down to it, every single time the election season comes near, I try to dodge it because I get sick of seeing it. But everybody everywhere treats the presidents like they're gods, okay? This is a problem. And this is another reason why I think, the world is the way it is. Like I said, I was saying it last night. You know, we got these leaders in charge, but these leaders are all bad people. Majority of them. And then, think about it this way. Well, if those angels did come out from underneath the Euphrates River, I'm still thinking they have a form of control over our governments. I do think that. Because, they look at it this way. Well, if I can control, they probably look at it this way, and this is just my line of thinking. This isn't, I'm not saying this to be accurate, but there's some theory behind this because why is it that the moment look at what's going on right now. 2020 was when the lake all dried up, okay? So 2020, back when this lake dried up, what happened? What happened? We had the sickness, okay? We I want to call it a plague. We had that. I could go deep into this, and I'm not gonna talk about it here because I'm on YouTube right now. But just think about it that way. And then on top of it, we're now all these predictions from the Bible are slowly becoming truths. And that's what's crazy about it. You know, think about it. There's prediction like the Euphrates River drying up was one of the predictions that were made of one of the what do I want to say? One of the prophecies from the Bible. The next one, and this is the only reason I know this is because Melanie Mack mentioned this, is that another prophecy in the Bible is a war was supposed to break out in Israel. All right. The weird thing is we're leading towards this one world government too, which is another prophecy predicted from the Bible. We're leaning towards it. So, you know, it makes me think. It makes me think how, you know, where are we right now? Like what point of end of days are we in? You know, just some crazy stuff to think about. All right, let's get into chapter 9. Samuel anoints Saul. Chapter 9. There was a Benjaminite, a man of standing, whose name was Kish, son of Abel, and the son of Zora, the son of Bechorath, the son of Aphiah of Benjamin, Kish and his son named Saul. Kish had a son named Saul, and Kish had a son named Saul, as handsome and a young man as could be found anywhere in Israel, and he was a head taller than anyone else. Now, the donkey belonging to Saul's father, Kish, were lost, and Kish said to his son Saul, "Take one of my servants with you, and go and look for the donkeys." So he passed through the hill country of Ephraim, and thought the area around Shalesh, and through the area of Shalesh, but they did not find them. They were on into the district of Shalom, but the donkeys were not there. Then he passed through the territory of Benjamin, but they did not find them. When they reached the district of Zup, Saul said to the servant who was with him, "Come, let's go. Our father will stop thinking about the donkeys and start worrying about us." But the servant replied, "Look in this town. There is a man of God. He is highly respected, and everything he says comes true. Let's go. Let's go there now. Perhaps he will tell us what way to take." Saul said to his servants, "If we go, what can we give the man? The food is our sacks. The food is in our sack. The food in our sacks is gone. If we have no gift to take to the man of God, what do we have?" The servant answered him again. "Look," he said, "I have a quarter of shekel of silver. I will give to the man of God, so that he will tell us what to take." Formerly in Israel, if someone went to inquire of God, they would say, "Come, let's go to the seer, because the prophet of today used to be called a seer. Good, Saul said to his servant. Come, let's go. So they set out of town where the man of God was. As they were going up to the hill of the town, they met some young women. As they were going up to the hill to the town, they met some young women coming out to draw water, and they asked them, "Is the seer here?" "He is," they answered. "He's ahead of you. Now hurry. He has just come to our town. Today for the people have a sacrifice at the high place as soon as you enter the town. You will find him before he goes up to the high place to eat. The people will not begin eating until he comes, because he must bless the sacrifice afterward. Those who are invited will eat. Go up now. You should find him about this time." They went up to the town, and as they were entering it, there was Samuel coming toward them on his way up to the high place. Now, the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed this to Samuel about this time. "Tomorrow I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin. Anoint him ruler over my people Israel. He delivered them from the hand of the Philistines. I have looked on my people, for their cry has reached me." When Samuel caught sight of Saul, the Lord said to him, "This is a man I spoke to you about. He will govern my people." Saul approached Samuel in the gateway and asked, "Would you please tell me where the seer's house is?" "I am the seer," Samuel replied. Go up ahead of me to the high place, for today you are to eat with me, and in the morning I will send you on your way, and will tell you all that is in your heart. As for the donkeys you lost 3 days ago, do not worry about them. They have been found, and to whom is all the desire of Israel turned, if not to you and your whole family line?" Saul answered, "But I am not a Benjamite, from the smallest tribe of Israel, and is not my claim the least I of all the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. Why do you say such a thing to me?" Then Samuel brought Saul and his servant into the hall and seated them at the head of those who were invited, about 30 in number. Samuel said to the cook, "Bring the piece of meat I gave you, the one I told you to lay aside." So the cook took up the thigh with what was on it, and set it in front of Saul and Samuel. And Samuel said, "Here is what has been kept for you. Eat, because it was set aside for you and for this occasion." From this time I said, "I have invited guests," and Saul denied what Samuel that day. Or dined, sorry. Saul dined with Samuel that day. Sorry, I messed that one up. After they came down from the high place to the town, Samuel talked with Saul on the roof of the house. They rose about daybreak, and Samuel called to Saul on the roof, "Get ready, and I will send you on your way." When Saul got ready, he and Samuel went outside together. As they were going down to the edge of the town. Samuel said to Saul, "Tell the servants to go on ahead of us." And the servant did. "But you stayed here for a while so that I may give you a message from God." All right, so we're at chapter 10 right now. Yeah, I'm gonna stop. There for now. So we'll continue that on and later on today. I'm coming back later on today with the stream. I'm off. So but yeah, there you go. That's it for me today. So I wanted to look some stuff up real quick. All right, let me see if there's an image of these things. Do they even exist anymore? All right, so this is what they looked like. All right, the 5 gold rats and the 5 gold tumors I was talking about. I'm gonna take this down as well. All right, so right here is what these golden rats look like, and this is what the golden tumor actually looked like. I was like, well, how would you build a tumor considering the fact that, like, it's just, hold on a second, my chair's not spinning. There we go. This chair's like rusted. I need a new one. All right. So the 5 gold rats and the 5 gold tumors, I don't think they would look like that. I think they would look more like this because that's how easy they would be to make. But having time to build these gotta be tough. But yeah, that's crazy. I'm not sure. They kind of look. I don't think they would look like that, but who the heck knows? These right here look more like the rats that would be built. Because remember, there were people carving these. I think there were people either carving these out or melting these down the way they are. And like my thing is like, where did they get all the gold from? Because that's the other question I've been confused about. Is like they have all this gold, okay, but where did they get it? Because gold was form of currency back in that time. So where did they get it? Oh my! All right, let me put this down below. All right, so, but yeah, it's this is some of that stuff. That stuff is very very important to know, especially like I said I would love to see a history museum of stuff from the Bible because it's interesting, you know. A lot of stuff within our Bible like is stuff that like should be, we should really be seeing it. But we don't have a museum for it, so therefore we can't really like do anything about it until somebody gets the idea to build a museum for it and actually pays funding for it. And that's the thing is like the only way to do something like that is to like have the funding for it. Otherwise, you can't get a Bible. I mean, otherwise you can't build a museum like that. That's the thing is like I mean you can build a church with a museum and have stuff from the Bible next to it. That's the only way you probably get away with, like, you know, get away with that kind of stuff. But people put that stuff in a museum because, like, they go and the archaeologists go and find that stuff. So, it's wild to think about that, like, things that happened, like, long, long ago. Still, still are being found to this day. And, the discoveries and all that, like, they're pretty wild when it comes down to it. Um, so yeah, it's very, very interesting to say the least. And, it's also very, very cool. So, but, yeah, this, this book's going pretty good. I like this one so far. I'm having, like, I'm literally having, you know, I'm the first one that can say I'm literally having fun reading the Bible because of all the different stories that are in it and hearing them. You know, not many people say that. But the reason I think I like it so much is because the Bible is basically it clips to all the action that happened back in the day. It doesn't go into those deep in-depth stories. The Bible is built more to like show the actions of things and how things took place and all that. So at the end of the day, it's really cool just to see how like it's really cool just to see how like everything was affected back then and all that. So hey, that's pretty cool. We're moving along pretty good. But yeah, it's pretty cool to say the least. Um, I think a lot of stuff that's in here is you know to me it's really cool because like I said, you sit there and you watch these movies and all that. Like some people love movies. I'm not a big fan of movies, okay? The reason I like the Bible so much because it breaks down all the actions that played out through history that made the Bible. It doesn't go into like in-depth stuff like deep backstory of like somebody or like something like that. No, it just mainly gets the main point of the story down. And if you're to write a story like that, if you're to write a story like the Bible or something like that, well, if you're to write a story, I highly suggest doing it this way, getting into all the action instead of going into the backstory back parts of the story because that makes the story far more interesting. A lot of people think you need this like really deep backstory with people, and that's fine. I'm doing that with my comic book. But what I really find interesting is like the fact that like these anime put backstory in, and it just draws out the story. You know, why not stick with the action? Why not depict the action that you saw go on instead of going into the backstory, and then build the backstory off of the main story instead of standing there and having somebody think for like a good like 4 to 5 minutes. I don't know. Don't watch anime either because it's like I'm gonna be honest. Anime is not good. It's backed by some really dark things, so I don't suggest doing that either. But by all means, if you if you write a story, get it into action instantly. Don't like lollygaggle or whatever on your story. You have to. It's cool to just get on top of the story and bring the action into play right away. Um, it's just something to think about. So, oh my. But yeah, as you can see here, these people are definitely the thing that really gets me is these people are so afraid of God, but are still worshiping other gods. That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get. Is they're they're so inclined. They're out there like worshiping all these other gods, and then they're so afraid of the holy God, our God, that it makes them not want to have an item by God in their area because it starts doing horrible stuff. Okay, so they're in fear of God and they know God exists. So why would they go and actually go and believe in some other God that isn't even remotely real? That's what I don't get. And there's all these people in today's world. When you look at it, they're always like, "Well, God, I believe in God, but I believe in these other gods." I'm like, no, that's not how it works. I had a guy at work literally last night say to me this. He's like, "I'm protected by God because, I've been through a lot of hard stuff too." No, no, that's not how it works. You have to read the Bible. You have to pray. You can't just sit there and be like, "Well, I believe in God because of this," or "God's gonna protect me because of this." No, God's not gonna protect you because of anything because you're not reading your Bible, you know, and you're not doing all that stuff you should. You were technically, just like you're just assuming that this stuff's gonna happen for you. You know, I don't know. I don't get it. And I think people need to stop. I think people need to chill out on thinking they know everything and start getting to know your God, start getting to read the Bible and all that. I can't understand why people would be like, well, God's gonna protect me, just assuming He's gonna protect them. You know, that's not how it works, buddy. And you know, these people, they want to believe in God, but they don't really want to sit down and read a book. They don't want to sit down and read the Bible or anything like that. So it's just extremely strange, to say the least, that anybody would sit there and claim they believe in God, and yet not read the Bible or anything. That's extremely strange. So, all right, it's 22. I'm gonna be praying here soon. Um, I got a lot of stuff going on today. Why is people asking me the same? People are asking me the same question they already asked me. They like, you know, I don't understand how sometimes people just get confused about stuff. But at the end of the day, everybody just assumes they know everything. So why, that's what I don't get. Is like to assume, you know, that's the one thing about us is like human nature is just we end up assuming everything we know is right, and then we turn around and naturally don't we naturally don't we don't we don't learn anything. We don't learn anything. We don't try to learn anything new. And so we get ourselves stuck in this line of thinking where like there's so many people out there, and I noticed this with them, is you know, they get confused about how to do things. Like example, I talk about like, promoting, people ask me how to promote my stuff. I always tell them the same exact stuff, and nobody actually listens. And the thing is, could sit there and be like, well, I'm promoting my channel, but my channel is all about God and you know and stuff, God and religion, and it brings people in. Nobody would actually sit there and believe me when I say that kind of stuff. That's why that's why I don't bother. It's why I don't bother to like, too many people are out too busy trying to figure stuff out. If they were to just to listen, if people were to actually listen, things would get done. Things would actually get done. But it's day and age where people don't naturally listen to a lot you have to say. So, I don't know this guy. A lot of these people on the YouTube Discord are trying to promote themselves, and it's like I don't really know what to tell you. Um, and the other thing is like people assume too much, and they never like take the time out to figure out why, you know, why they don't understand something as much as they actually think they should. You know, that's the thing is like human beings are naturally hard to talk to because they don't usually have an understanding. What they understand is brought on by emotions. They don't think with a sense of logic. So therefore, like, you know, you therefore you could tell them something that was thought out by complete logic. But because everybody is stuck in an emotional line of thinking, they get stuck doing stuff that naturally isn't good for their line of thinking. Or they'll basically they will disband your line of thinking because what they thought to be right was wrong. What you said was wrong to them because they think with their emotions and that's how they handle stuff. And because they think so much with their emotions, it ends up bothering them and they end up like throwing you under the bus because of how you think about stuff. This is just something I've noticed with a lot of people that emotional thinking is how a lot of people do stuff. A lot of people do not think with a lot of people do not think with logic. That's plain and simple. A logical thinker is very rare to come by these days, and it's been proven that a lot of people do think with their emotions and they don't think enough with logic. So that's why they do things the way they do them. Some stuff just doesn't make sense to me, and it's because of a logical. It's because of an emotional line of thinking instead of a logical type of thinking. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody, but that's just what I pick up on. So, all right. So I'm gonna say prayers, and I'm gonna get out of here, and I'm gonna go, enjoy my day for a little bit. I'll be back in the evening, All right. Lord Jesus Christ, I pray to you right now to help me make it through the day. Help people understand, Lord, that they shouldn't be thinking with their emotions. Lord, we need to have this thought process pushed into other people's minds and all that. Lord, um, we need to get people on the right track with their thinking process. Instead of thinking with emotions, have them think with logic. Lord, teach them to think with logic. Force it onto the internet. Lord, also, I pray to you today that if the fallen angels did get out, I pray that you and they trance the government. Like I said, I pray that you break that trance. I pray that things start shifting back to the way they used to be. And Lord, if they did trance our government or they did trance all the governments, Lord, break that trance today, so that way things can get back to normal. Lord, and anything else that seems sadistic or very very dark or anything like that, Lord, if anybody that's in your graces or promoting you or praising you, Lord, break them of those habits, break them of those bad ways, and break them of the darkness, Lord. We need them to come back to you. We need them teaching your lesson, Lord. Bring Melanie Mack back to YouTube today with a Bible reading. Have her do her normal stuff, Lord. I also gonna pray for Bernie Venti as always. Bless her, bless Melanie Mack, Lord. Bless Stan from work. Bless him with the energy to get through the the walk that he has coming up. Bless him so that way he can get through his walk and uh have the energy he needs to wake up and do it. So Lord, if you could bless him with energy on that day of the walk, help him get through it, Lord, and just help him through the day that day. Make sure he, and just make sure he does everything he needs to. Bless them, Lord. And bless anybody else that needs blessed, Lord. Bless everybody that really, really is just going through a tough time. Show them that you exist, Lord. Show them that you're powerful. Show them that you overrule all evil. Show them that you overpower the darkness, Lord. And make sure we bring new people to the Bible, Lord. If not through me, then find other ways to do it. In Jesus' name, amen. So there you go. There you have it. I know this was a little bit late, but I will be back later on today in the evening sometime. So with that said, guys, take it easy. God bless you and have a wonderful day. And I'll be back in a little while.